Welcome to the Dynamic Leadership Center. If you're a small business owner, dynamic leadership is an exciting opportunity for you. And when I say small business, I'm talking about companies that are up to about 400 employees and or around $50 million in revenue. Of course, these numbers are a bit flexible since there are so many factors at play. Now, why use that as a benchmark? First, at that size, companies are on the verge of rapid scaling. Economies of scale can kick in, and your revenue per employee can more than double. Second, I believe dynamic leadership works best when the CEO or owner has 100% freedom of action. That's critical for the flexibility that this style offers. Dynamic leadership is a leadership style that sits on a spectrum, somewhere between servant leadership and command and control. It allows you to adjust your approach based on your needs while always keeping your long-term goals in mind. To help small business owners, I map dynamic leadership principles to Jim Collins' work, particularly his books Good to Great and Great by Choice. These books offer well-vetted and proven principles that small business leaders can trust and use without second guessing. Now, if you're familiar with these books, you'll know something about the leaders behind the companies that made the leap from good to great. What's remarkable is how they maintained above average performance for over 15 years straight. Great by Choice highlights the companies that also held strong through the 2008 financial crisis, which saw businesses closing overnight, including some of the ones that had made the cut to good to great. It's a very useful comparison and study, and it's principle based because of the way Jim Collins' team did the research. Now, these leaders all had a few things in common. They operated with a long-term vision, one that was usually bigger than themselves. They didn't prioritize short-term quarterly results just to satisfy market pressures. In my own career, I've seen a lot. As an ex-Army officer, including command over atomic munitions and completing Ranger training, I've witnessed command and control from different perspectives. In the military, it works because there is not only an entire support structure that backs it up, there are also levers that every manager and leader, no matter how low on the totem pole, has access to. A disciplinary system that scales up to essentially putting people in jail, but with many, many steps in between for a person to correct their ways. Most civilian leaders don't have anything like that at their disposal. Threat of termination doesn't even come close. Yet, command and control is a very popular style, especially amongst boards and folks who are focusing on a short-term return. And this is why I like the idea of having the CEO having full freedom of action. So they're not pushed into that direction by other stakeholders that may have some sway over them. On the flip side, as a sales manager and later sales operations executive, I experienced servant leadership firsthand. While it's a powerful tool for building trust and empowering teams, it has its limits as well. Top performers consistently leave money on the table because extrinsic motivation, it has its limits. Through my experience and research, I found that dynamic leadership is the right strategy for small businesses looking to grow and scale. It taps into something deeper, intrinsic motivation. While sales teams often rely on extrinsic motivation, things like commission checks, bonuses, and exotic trips, dynamic leadership draws its strength from leveraging the same levers that are at play for sports teams, the same kind of factors that lead to dynasty teams. Intrinsic motivation is about individuals finding joy and fulfillment in the activity and work itself, and it's more than possible. The leaders who took their companies from good to great and the ones who succeeded despite crisis fostered intrinsic motivation within their teams. In the Dynamic Leadership webinar, I unpack the skills and actions you can take to bring this style into your business. I also introduce the building blocks that make it easy to teach dynamic leadership as well as delegate the dynamic leadership process to your teams, enabling them to delegate responsibilities with confidence, and scale your leadership style as your business grows. In addition to the webinar, I'm also introducing a workshop curriculum where your leaders can get hands-on experience and start operationalizing dynamic leadership in your organization. you will walk away with the beginning of a playbook that your entire leadership team can start to follow, ensuring consistency and alignment as you grow. You can access that dynamic leadership webinar using the link that accompanies this video, as well as dates for upcoming workshops and other opportunities to build dynamic leadership in your organization.